If you're like me and you're spending so much time looking for the best portable guitar interface on the Galaxy, you'll probably come across many different options on the market. So I've bought 5 different interfaces to compare and find the best one for sound, ease of use, and overall functionality. So let's see. Let's start by weighting them. The IK Multimedia IRig USB weighs at just 50 grams, is the lightest one, and when you hold it in your hand, it just feels hollow, it weighs nothing, and although it's made of plastic, it doesn't necessarily feel cheaply made. The IRig HDX weighs at just 54 grams, really similar to the USB version. It even feels and looks similar, but it's packed with a little bit more functionality such as live streaming. So the next one is Apogee JamX, and it's more than twice as heavy as the previous two, weighing at 113 grams. And when you hold it in your hand, you can feel the premium quality of it. It has this nice aluminium feel, and even the parts that are made of plastic feel really nice. Positive Grid Riff, weighing at 159 grams, it has this nice aluminium feel to it too, and it got this retro look that I think is really cool. The Apogee one weighs at 172 grams and it's already the heaviest, but it's just the device and you have to include the breakout cable, otherwise you won't be able to connect your guitar to it. But this one is the only one that lets you connect an XLR microphone, and it even powers it using phantom power. Also, it got this tiny onboard microphone, which surprisingly sounds really good, and I really like that. So I made some recording using all of these devices, and I compared them to my Apogee Symphony desktop, which is one of Apogee's flagship products, and it has one of the cleanest preamps that I've heard so far. So let's do a quick noise comparison. I've used the Neural DSP high-gain amp plugin to be able to properly hear the difference between the noise levels. Now let's test and compare the preamps. So when connecting the IRig USB, I realized it generates a very loud hiss, and even by turning the input gain knob all the way down, the noise is still there. So this one is no use to me. In comparison, the HDX version has a much lower noise floor, but when I started playing guitar, I realized the signal was too loud, so I naturally decided to reduce the input gain to avoid clipping. But guess what? It doesn't have an input gain control. At first I thought the option was there and it was me who couldn't find it. But after reading the user manual by IK Multimedia, I came across this paragraph that says, "Important note, IRig HDX includes a high headroom input which eliminates the need for a dedicated gain control. The input gain is preset and can accept all types of pickups, active or passive, so you can plug and play with any guitar or bass and get started right away." Really, IK Multimedia? My bare knuckle black hot pickups are medium high output. They're not as hot as, for example, some of the active pickups on the market. And you can clearly see that the signal is too hot for this device. And even if you lower the signal's gain at post, you can see that the signal is chopped and clipped. Aside from that, I've got different guitars with different pickups and each one of them has different outputs, so I need to be able to adjust the gain accordingly to be able to have the best sounding signal for my recording. So it doesn't have the basic functionality that I need. So the Apogee JamX has moderate noise floor, which is acceptable, but I realized that the overall output level is low. And even if you want to crank the input gain, it's sort of like there's a limiter that keeps the signal at somewhere like -3 or -4 dB. And cranking the gain makes the signal distorted internally. And I had a hard time figuring out when I'm gonna have the loudest and cleanest signal. I know there are different compressor options on this device and I made sure that they're off, but still I had this sort of limiter problem with this device. And about those compressor options, they're not something that you cannot do using a plugin on your DAW, so I probably won't use them at all. At this point, I was really hoping that the positive Grid Riff would sound cleaner than the rest with less noise, but the problem starts as soon as you hit a note on the guitar, and the noise will come, stays there for a second, and then disappears. I've looked into it and searched online, and apparently that is something to do with grounding, but whatever that is, it's really distracting. And I also checked different preamps and I realized that they mostly add some unwanted saturation to the signal. Again, nothing that you cannot achieve using a plugin in your DAW. So at this point with these devices, I realized that I don't need any extra functionality. I want them to do just one thing and do it properly, which is having a clean signal. So the last one is Apogee 1. It has a clean preamp with minimal noise and it sounds closest to my Symphony desktop. And the cool thing about it is having this tiny onboard microphone. And I know I said I don't care about extra functionality, but this one is so innovative and surprisingly sounds so good that there were times that I just brought this with me without any microphone and I was able to record my demos and even a finished product just using these for both my guitar and my vocals. So I've got some positive experience with this one. I've used it for many years. I recorded many songs with it and I even made some serious money with this as well. It's really portable. You can just put it in your backpack and you completely forget that it's there. And the sad thing is it's discontinued. I don't know why Apogee discontinued this because it's really innovative and it's generally one of the coolest interfaces on the market. And as soon as I realized that it's discontinued, I went and bought a second one just in case something happens to this one. This one is used and I bought it just for £50 and I bought the black version. That was the only one that was available. And the cool thing with this black version is the preamp in this one is even closer to my Symphony desktop. It has a little bit more headroom to it that you can crank the gain a little bit more and it just sounds incredible. So as you can see, Apogee 1 is my favorite portable all-round interface for both guitar and vocals. And if you can find one used anywhere, definitely go for it. But if you couldn't, because it's discontinued, I would suggest you to go with the IRig HDX. I know it got some shortcomings and you won't be able to adjust the input gain, but there are workarounds for all of these and you probably will be happy with that. So that was my journey of finding the best portable guitar interface that's currently on the market, and I hope that helps you too. And if you think that there's any product out there in this field that I missed, definitely let me know and I would love to check that out as well. So until the next video.